Why are they booing Swanigan so loudly? Because they wanted him here. He was come here, changed his mind, went to Purdue. He plays his first game here as a visitor tonight. Welcome to Super Tuesday, presented by CenturyLink. This is Big Ten basketball on ESPN. It's a packed house here at the Breslin Center. Michigan State in need of a signature win. They're 4-3 in the league right now. They'll take on a very good Purdue squad led by one of the best players in the country in Caleb Swanigan. Hi, everybody. Dan Schulman, Dan Dockich. Swanigan's credentials, the fact that he was going to come here, you can feel it in the building here tonight.
You can.
Yeah.
And, there's no animosity between Izzo and Painter, the two coaches. Swanigan just changed his mind, but he is one of the very best. He is an absolute double-double machine, and he's much more efficient this year, Dan. He's shooting 47% from the three-point line, 62% overall, but it's the way he plays. He plays from the top of the key. He plays in the block. He's aggressive, and you know what? He's become a much better decision-maker / assist guy. Not only is his body better, as documented on ESPN.com, but man, oh man, has his judgment improved.
We'll tell you more about the background story, how he wound up at Purdue after committing to Michigan State. Molly McGrath is with us. She'll have more on that story as time allows tonight as well. But on the court, if you're not familiar with Swanigan, one of the very best players in the country, and this Purdue team, its ceiling is really high. Their good is very good.
Their good is tremendous because they have all the bases covered. They have big guys. They have wing guys. They have shooters. They shoot at a tremendous percentage. They guard and they can score.
The Spartans with the opening possession of the night. Keep an eye on Miles Bridges, 22 and white, one of the top freshmen in the country. And get ready for a real battle inside between Nick Ward and Caleb Swanigan as Aaron Harris buries a three.
Dan, they ran Harris off of two double screens there. The second double screen, he had just barely an inch to get it over to Dakota Mathias. Mathias, good defense.
Here's Swanigan, better than 18 points, 12 rebounds per game. Kicks it out, Mathias. Wide left on the three, running it down, Tum Nairn. Bridges will launch. And missed the three and down with the rebound to Mathias. So the first three attempts of the game all have been from beyond the arc. Looking inside again, Swanigan. Nairn got in there and took it away from him. And then threw it away. The Hall of Famer Tom Izzo. He's in his 22nd year here with Michigan State. 7 Final Fours, 19 consecutive trips to the NCAA tournament. It's very early, but a lot of people looking at this as kind of a bubble team right now.
The old Yogi Berra line is getting late early. They only have 3 more teams that are in the top 25 after this one, so they need to win desperately against a big-time team.
Vince Edwards again, the ball inside to Swanigan, and he'll finish.
Hey, he went around, through, and back down a very big man in Nick Ward. First 2 times, I thought Swanigan settled. Ward pushed him off the block, not the third time. He dominated him.
Dan, both coaches talked at shoot-around today about having to keep their big guys out of foul trouble, needing to keep Swanigan and Ward in the game. Ward handles the double team. The least heralded member of the Michigan State freshman class has been terrific this year for Tom Izzo.
Well, he is outstanding because he knows who he is, Dan. He knows he's a block player. He's nothing other than a block player.
Swanigan can do this. He's got 19 threes in 39 attempts now. Just a hair under 50% on the season.
Dan, Purdue people were so frustrated with him last year. In fact, Matt Painter benched him last 10 minutes of the NCAA tournament. It was over decisions. Well, he's improved that, and he's improved his shooting. 47% from the three-point line.
He's got the green light. Baseline jumper around and out for Joshua Langford. Mathias inside, Vince Edwards. Around Bridges, up, off the rim. And out of bounds to the Spartans. Matt Painter's got an awfully good team. He's in his 12th season at Purdue, 3-time Big Ten Coach of the Year. The challenge for Purdue is putting together a complete season, getting into the tournament and then doing some damage in the tournament. The last few years, that has eluded them.
Well, their big lead against Cincinnati blew it, and then Arkansas Little Rock beat them down the stretch as well last 2 years in the tournament. One thing Matt Painter's done, and Purdue fans appreciate it, he's kind of taken under-recruited guys. That's a Gene Cady model. Under-recruited guys, developed them like P.J. Thompson, Matthias, added a star in Swanigan, and has a really, really good basketball team.
Danny Goins has checked in for Nick Ward for Michigan State. That's him with a long jumper right there. The rebound down to Matthias. Touch pass back to P.J. Thompson. Great offensive rebound. Edwards has it rejected. Swanigan getting booed every time he touches the ball here by the Izzone. Double team, pass deflected. Michigan State ball. Nairn. Bridges there to clean it up. Boy, a really energetic start to this game here tonight. Spartans with an early 2-point lead. Swanigan, elbow turnaround short.
I'll tell you what, if you're Michigan State, Dan, you'll take him shooting that shot all night long. He was just tired and wanted to get a shot up.
And with Ward out and Goins in, Swanigan's got a pretty significant size advantage on the guy covering him right now. Harris off a screen.
Oh, man. A great screen on the baseline. That's a Tom Izzo staple. Wings cross, bigs pin down. Usually doesn't work that easy, but a fantastic screen slash run into the defender by Michigan State.
Harris 21 Saturday in the loss in Bloomington, 5 early points tonight. Edwards kicks it out. Carson Edwards, the freshman, no relation to Vince Edwards, knocks down the three.
Dan, that kid is fearless. He's bow-legged, and he is fearless. I mean, when he got moved in the starting lineup, it's one of those deals where it wasn't just to hang in there and keep his job. Carson Edwards was in to be a star.
6-foot freshman out of Atascocita, Texas. Bridges with a three, and Michigan State back up by 4.
First three Bridges shot, Izzo called him over and yelled at him. Then Bridges ran the floor and got a bucket. And I think Izzo yelling at him kind of woke him up to do something else so that when you got a three, you're ready to go.
Ball sticking a little bit right now offensively for Purdue. Edwards again, a little bit too strong. P.J. Thompson the rebound. Edwards again, got it.
Freshman in the Izzone, first time, looks like he's been here for 10 years. Wow. Yep. And then Danny made the shot, didn't change expression, just went back down and started guarding.
Confident kid, you see him at shoot around, the way he interacts with his teammates and coaches. A real spark and a barometer for Purdue. When he scores in double figures, they're 10-0 this year. Langford trying to shake him at this end of the court. Shot clock at 5. Nairn, Goins, Langford, got it! Man, whistles optional for the officials so far here tonight. Up and down they're going here at the Breslin Center. There has not been a foul in this game until that moment right there. How about that? What a 6.5 minutes to start it.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by CenturyLink, connecting more than just places. CenturyLink, your link to what's next, and in part by the Lincoln Motor Company.
Molly McGrath.
Well, Dan, during pregame shoot-around, Caleb Swanigan said he expects a hostile environment here as he plays at Michigan State for the first time since decommitting back in 2015. But he's not going to let the heckling get to him, saying, I've dealt with adversity my whole life, and this is no different. It's all about mental toughness and keeping my poise, but they're not making it easy on him. Over an hour before tip-off, the Izzone was chanting traitor, and they're handing out all of these handouts to everyone in the fan section. It has background on Swanigan and instructions to chant Caleb in unison every time he has the ball. And the section leader said they did this to Nigel Hayes last year. He went 1 for 13 from the floor that night, Dan.
All right, Molly, so here's part of the backstory. He did, Cal was in on him, Purdue was in on him, Michigan State was in on him, and it looked like actually that he might be headed to Cal. That's what a lot of people thought, but he committed to Michigan State, decommitted, went to Purdue. One of the reasons given by Swanigan himself was because they had Haas and they still had Hammonds then, that he could play the 4, that he wouldn't play the center, obviously thinking about his future as a pro to a certain extent. He goes to Purdue, not a one-and-done player, much better player this year as a sophomore than he was as a freshman, as you talked about. One of the ironies is Hammonds is now gone, of course, used up his eligibility. And now, for the most part, Haas and Swanigan aren't out there together, although they are right now. So Swanigan's actually playing a lot of the 5 right now. And we've got a foul going against Michigan State. No hard feelings between Tom Izzo and Matt Painter. They like each other, respect each other. They spoke after the situation. It's just the fans who are really getting on Swanigan's case. But as Reggie Jackson said, they don't boo nobodies.
Right.
And if you'll excuse the double negative, Swanigan is not a nobody.
Right. Right. And it has not affected him even a little bit to this point thus far. Look at this.
There's Haas inside, and he's fouled by Ward. This is when Purdue gets like crazy big, when Swanigan and Haas are both in the game.
It's impossible to explain to you how big Haas is.
Yeah.
So what Purdue does is pretty simple. They run what it used to be called post exchange. 2 big guys inside, high-low, 3 perimeter guys moving around, and you're able to do it with Swanigan because he can shoot the ball.
Haas 7'2", 290. Swanigan 6'9", 250. Bridges down with a rebound in traffic.
Yeah, that was pretty good by Bridges. Even though Swanigan was able to get into the middle of the floor, he did not allow Swanigan to get past him.
Ward now guarded by Haas. Long jump hook, not there. Swanigan the rebound. Purdue looking to push. Carson Edwards steps through and scores.
Hey, this Izzone better start yelling at Carson Edwards because he's killing everybody in the building.
He's got more than half of Purdue's points as the Boilermakers have come back to tie it up. Cassius Winston now in off the bench at the point for Michigan State. Matt McQuaid with the ball is checked in as well. Alvin Ellis in the game. Boy, they would love McQuaid to knock down some shots. Has struggled shooting the ball this year compared to his freshman season. Shot clock a factor. Ward to his strong side, can't get it to go.
Danny, I'm telling you, nobody scores over Haas. Like Ethan Happ, who may be the best low post guy not named Swanigan in the Big Ten, was rolling against Purdue. Haas came in, he couldn't get anything done. Ward can usually get a good look, get it inside the basket, hasn't here.
Edwards really not shy tonight, misses that jumper. Ellis, who's had some big games for Michigan State, kicks it off to Bridges, who buries it. Ellis also looked like he might have gotten poked in the eye as he was making the pass, but he's all right.
Well, if I'm Ellis, I'm not acting hurt because he's going to get a chance to play in this game. He can shoot the ball. You saw there, straight cut, found the next guy.
Ryan Klein with the ball for Purdue, one of the many good outside shooters that Matt Painter has. Haas kicks it out. Edwards drives it, and he's into double figures already.
So smart by Painter. Who's the hot guy? Edwards. You put him on the same side as your best low post guy.
Ellis. Around and out, yet another rebound for Swanigan, who leads the nation at 12.5 per game. Got 5 already tonight. Thompson. And we got a foul away from the ball going against Purdue. 1-point lead, Michigan State over the Boilermakers. When we come back, Dan Dakich to the court, teaching us more about Swanigan. Going here at the Breslin Center, 1-point lead to Michigan State, taking on Caleb Swanigan and Purdue. Dan Dakich breaking it down for us on the court.
Caleb Philip Swanigan is the focal point of the offense for Purdue. Let's talk about how they use him. He gets to the top of the key however he gets there. He'll get to the top of the key. He can shoot it, he can drive it, he can do whatever. Then he'll either reverse it and go down screen, or he'll go hand it off. If he hands it off, he rolls right into the post. When he rolls into the post, they're looking for him. But he can start at the top of the key, he can shoot it, he can drive it, hand it off, but he's going to end up right here. He loves the left block. Pretty simple. Purdue gets him the ball in a lot of different spots.
Well done, Coach. And, folks, Dan Dockich isn't just making this stuff up as he goes here. Here's Swanigan down to the post, and here as the play begins, you see Thompson bringing the ball over midcourt. There's the screen, and now here he comes up to the top of the key, gets the ball back again. Now he's headed to the left. Little dribble handoff to Dakota Mathias, and then right down on the block. As Coach Dockich says, they get the ball inside to him, and once he's in that low, pretty much money, huh?
He's just death down there, and I hate mascots. Always have.
Yeah, but that's the wrong one to mess with.
I know, right?
He's ripped. Like, go fight the tree out at Stanford or something. Don't mess with the spark. Nick Ward.
Hey, that's pretty good by Ward. Ward not intimidated, just got lower. You know what? You're playing against a bigger guy. Get lower so you have better balance and better spring. He just dominated Haas right there.
Edwards, wild shot off the glass. Ellis down with a rebound. Swanigan on the bench right now for Purdue. Haas, the big man in the middle. Numbers now for Michigan State on the broken play. Ellis. An air ball and a foul underneath going against the Spartans. It'll be on Ward as he battled for position with Haas. Thursday night, 8 Eastern on ESPN. Got a great game coming your way from the ACC. Virginia Tech is at the Smith Center to take on the North Carolina Tar Heels. Also streaming live with the ESPN app and Watch ESPN. One thing you know you'll get from the Hokies, you'll get an honest night's effort every time they're on the court.
Yeah, and one thing you know you're going to get from North Carolina is a lot of points. I mean,
That's
they can
true.
get the ball down the floor.
Hey, how big is this? Second on Ward. This was Tom Izzo's biggest concern coming into the game.
Now you got to figure something else out. And what you need to think about is Bridges on the block.
Haas called for the travel, trying to spin around Goins.
Let me tell you something. He's lucky he got called for travel, because that would have been a hooking foul on Haas. You're going to see he's going to get the ball here. He's going to shuffle his feet. But the hook was there if Gene Steratore wanted to go that route.
So here you have Goins, a former walk-on, 6'6", 230. And now he'll have to handle Swanigan as Haas has gone to the bench.
I'm sorry, Dan, but the reason he's in there, you have two guys sitting at the end of the bench. Carter transferred from Nevada, and you've got Gavin Schilling, who's a starter, both out for the season. So you're left with really two guys inside, Ward and now Goins.
Harris did not reestablish himself inbounds before he touched the ball again, so wave it off, Purdue basketball. Now, you make a great point. There they are there. Yeah. Carter on the left, Schilling on the right. They also thought they probably would have Deontay Davis back this year. He decides to go pro. So this is the smallest Michigan State team Tom Izzo's had in many, many years. Swanigan getting booed every time he touches the ball. Doesn't seem to bother him one bit.
Yeah, a little tough for Goins. Goins allowed the pressure, but Goins ran right by Swanigan there.
Look at the speed getting down the court. That's the way the Spartans want to play tonight. They want to beat Purdue down the court.
Hey, Goins was competing. Swanigan was chilling. Cool is for the club. You got to get down the court. Whether you score or turn it over, you got to get.
Spike Albrecht, the former Michigan Wolverine, now a fifth-year senior with Purdue. Klein from the corner, and he'll answer with a three.
Absolutely no reason for Aaron Harris to let him get a shot. Aaron Harris, the entire coaching staff, Dane Fife et al, were putting their hands up like, you've got to be there on Klein. That's the one thing Klein can do, and he does it as well as anybody.
42% from beyond the arc on the season. Purdue as a team is over 40%. Tough pass. Ellis leading Bridges too far.
Well, they have a mismatch down there, and it was Spike Albrecht on Bridges, but because Goins is in the game and can't shoot, Swanigan is able to just stand in the lane and influence post defense.
Winston out, Nairn back in for Michigan State. 11 on the shot clock. Wide open underneath. Somebody missed an assignment there.
Swanigan. It was a little double screen. Swanigan wasn't ready. He was straight up. He wasn't paying attention, and Goins just slipped it after the cut.
And Edwards fouled, touch foul on Miles Bridges.
You have to be in a stance. This is a thing Purdue works on as hard as anybody. Swanigan's right here. Watch the double screen come. One screen, two screens. Swanigan just hanging out. Doesn't see ball and man layup Goins. Quick feed, and I don't like to for my size, but
deceptively
I did
quick.
Want to kick Sparty, right?
Yeah, I know.
All right.
How about this? Purdue has committed one foul in 12 minutes. Double team. Now Nairn backs off. Now it comes again at Swanigan. The kick to Klein. And there's where they can hurt you. They move the ball so well, and they got so many shooters.
Spike Albrecht's like 3 for 16 on the year from 3. They feed the post. Nairn's the guy helping. He was guarding Spike. So Spike just moved over, and Ryan Klein filled for him. Sparty switched, didn't get back to Klein. I think Nairn thought it was still Spike. Better shooter Klein knocked it out.
You know, these two teams are 1-2 in the country on assist percentage, meaning the percentage of their made baskets that come with an assist. Purdue is number 2 in the country. Michigan State's number 1, and they're both 9 for 10 pending that basket. 9 for 10 tonight.
Well, they don't have one. There's not one guy on either team that I would describe as selfish.
Yeah. Michigan State looking for a big win. They're 12-8 on the season. Difficult start to the year. Always a crazy schedule for Tom Izzo. This year maybe even more so with the travel as well. They've lost to the likes of Arizona, Kentucky, Duke. They've lost 2 in a row right now. Lost to Ohio State, then Indiana in a game that you had in Bloomington Saturday. So they're 4-3 in the league. Purdue 5-2 in the league. Teams looking up at the likes of Maryland and Wisconsin atop the Big Ten. Bridges from deep in the corner.
Hey, we're talking Swanigan as an All-American, but Bridges tonight by far the most in tune to winning that I've seen him. He really reacted when Izzo got after him first shot of the game.
He's got 13 points already. Swanigan misses that jumper, and then a steal by Albrecht. Edwards wide open. And Michigan State fortunate not to give up any points on that sequence.
I thought Edwards settled right there. It's a shot most kids want to take, but man, you could have driven it, made something happen from about 10 feet. That would have been a huge bucket for Purdue.
14 minutes in, great pace. Spartans by 5. Here comes McQuaid. Gets it off. Hits it. 8-0 run, Michigan State. Izzo going bananas. Shot clock inside 10. It'll be Spike Albrecht. Spartans ball. Bridges. Couldn't finish it, and back comes Purdue. Carson Edwards, man, talk about a guy feeling it.
Talk about a guy that just lost his mind and made his coach crazy, and now is going to come out.
Yeah, Dakota Mathias was summoned to the scorer's table after that shot. Those two events seem interrelated, don't you think? Another long stretch without a whistle. And of course, as soon as you say that, we'll have a whistle and a foul on Kenny Goins. Let's go to Molly.
Well, Dan, you'll notice on the sidelines, Tom Izzo is putting his hands up when they're on defense, telling his players to contest shots. In that last timeout, he's saying, you got to get to their shooters. They're raising up quickly in our face and hitting shots. He didn't like the way they were contesting them. He wants to see better perimeter defense. They've definitely gotten better at that since then, Dan.
Molly is absolutely right, but I'm going to tell you something. If I'm a referee and Izzo wants to do that, I don't care if he's in the Hall of Fame or not. He cannot do that stepping on the floor. We saw it in an NBA game. But if you want to do that, that's great. But you cannot do that on the floor. And I think he's been on the floor a few times.
Here's Haas down low. And a foul is called. I think they called it before. I think Pat Driscoll called it before the shot. Let's set the situation. Here's why Izzo was so upset. The second foul on Goins. So Goins has 2. Ward has 2. Matt Van Dyke, all 6'5" of them, a walk-on until this year, is now playing the center spot and guarding Haas. Bridges is getting a breather right now. I mean, this is Michigan State's leading, but this is a bit of a tenuous time for them, given who's in foul trouble and the group they've got on the floor right now.
And you have to assume with P.J. Thompson out there, this will be a much calmer Purdue offense where they will make certain the ball goes inside. P.J. Thompson's the guy that does it. See, if I'm a coach or if I'm a referee, I am not allowing, I don't mind that. That's the ball's down on the other end. But if his hand's going to be up around the player yelling, I've either got to give him a technical, I warn him first, and then he's got to sit down. Hall of Fame, no Hall of Fame, I don't care.
Back in for the Boilermakers, 12, Vincent Edwards.
It's been a trying season for him, given the injuries, as we mentioned, the difficult schedule and the travel. Having a conversation with Gene Steratore, who's working the game along with Pat Driscoll and Paul Sells.
We saw it the other day in the Knicks game. It was Sidney Lowe, I believe, for the Wizards against Courtney Lee. I think it was Courtney Lee left side. Sidney Lowe, assistant, put his hands up, waved the thing, and yelled at him. That's ridiculous to me. Coaches need to sit down.
McQuaid's hit 1 3 tonight, not this time, and Klein the rebound. Purdue looking to make a run here near the end of the first half, given some of the foul trouble that the Spartans have. Swanigan went to the bench at the last whistle. Vince Edwards came back in. And look at the difference in size, and look at Van Dyke fighting his way around Haas to come up with a steal.
Hey, there's no reason you put the ball on the floor to post free. Just throw it up, let Haas go get it.
Winston got it! Spectacular spinning finish by the freshman, Cassius Winston. Vince Edwards is fouled by Alvin Ellis. 3:29 to go in the first half here in a lively Breslin Center. Michigan State with an 8-point lead. Eastern time. You want to talk about blue bloods, Kansas and Kentucky. What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to seeing. I love watching De'Aaron Fox, but I love Josh Jackson too. I know he got off to a bit of a slow start, but every time I watch that kid play, he's terrific. And Frank Mason, I didn't realize this, Dan. He's averaging 20 points a game, and he has been spectacular. But man, oh man, Fox and Monk, it's a lot of fun.
You want to put together an all-tough team. Frank Mason's probably the point guard on that team, but be interesting to see if Kansas can handle Bam Adebayo inside. He's a beast down there.
He is a beast, but I don't think that's a key. Like, I would rather have him try to beat me than I would the two guards, because I think Fox and Lonzo Ball from UCLA are the two most dynamic freshman point guards I've seen in a long, long time. They've made passing cool.
Agreed.
They're electric to watch, those two.
Yeah. You can't take your eyes off either one of them when they're playing. Nice feed inside. Bridges from McQuaid.
Huge that McQuaid is playing well. Absolutely huge, because he's a kid that when he decides to be fiery, he's really good. I thought he was too cool and a little bit intimidated in Bloomington on Saturday. Played very poorly. Great here. There you go. You got to throw it out.
McQuaid takes it away, but it stays with Purdue. Why is Haas having trouble dealing with the Michigan State defense?
Because Van Dyke is getting low. Van Dyke is a strong kid. Now, they throw the ball too low here. You got to throw the ball up at the rim and let him just catch, hold it above everybody. McQuaid may have fouled him there, but that was a great play by McQuaid coming out from help side.
Swanigan back in, so Purdue goes even bigger. And again, with Michigan State in foul trouble, Ward and Goins both on the bench with 2. Swanigan knocks down a three-pointer.
Hey, Dan, the dude is 6'8", 260 pounds. He's been sitting on the bench, so what Painter run for him? A little double down screen, and he just lifted up and knocked it out.
First field goal in 5 minutes for the Boilermakers. They're back within 5.
That's a big bucket right here. It is a big 2.5 minutes. I always say last 2 minutes of a half, monstrous.
A little bit too much ball pressure. The foul on Thompson, just the second foul committed by Purdue in the game. We talked about Kansas, Kentucky. Here's a look at a lot of the notable matchups in the SEC Big 12 Challenge presented by Sonic. A&M will be at West Virginia. Texas at Georgia. Baylor's going to go to Ole Miss, and Of course, Kansas and Kentucky, the feature game from Rupp Arena. Bridges matched up with Swanigan. Winston keeping the dribble alive, finds Van Dyke underneath, kicks it out, turns it over. Klein has help. Matthias. Yes, tough left-handed lay-in for Dakota Matthias.
Yeah, that's not comfortable for Ryan Klein, but he was able to find Matthias, who's really good in traffic.
And P.J. Thompson just picked up another foul, so he picks up 2 very quickly, and that's going to take the starting point guard off the court for the last minute 57 of the half as Spike Albrecht checks back in.
Well, I don't think that hurts them all that much. I think that one thing that P.J. Thompson is very good at is getting the ball to the right people. Spike Albrecht the same. Spike just had a really tough shooting year so far. He's been dealing with some injuries, hip injuries. Never, or to this point, hasn't found a shooting rhythm.
By the way, he'll be back in Ann Arbor for the Wolverines senior night. Purdue is at Michigan State on the next to last Sunday of the season. That's senior day at Michigan, and Albrecht will be there in a visiting uniform.
Yeah, I can't wait. That's my son's senior night, so I'll be walking out there, then broadcasting the game.
That's a pretty good day for a dad.
That's a great day for a dad. You kidding?
Enjoy that. That's fun. There's Albrecht. Of course, first, his original claim to fame was the great first half performance he had for the Wolverines in the national championship game against Louisville back as a freshman.
You know, you asked me before, why haven't they got it in the post? Langford did an unbelievable job of going high hands, not letting Matthias throw it in there.
More coming your way tonight over on ESPN. Kentucky, Tennessee at 9 o'clock after the Kansas-West Virginia game. And then Sports Center at night with Bucci and Anderson. They'll have all the highlights from the college basketball scene, the NBA, the NHL, quarterfinal action from the Australian Open with Serena Williams in action tonight. And, of course, a look ahead to Super Bowl 51. Aaron Harris, who got off to a quick start for the Spartans, back into the game. That's the second foul on Matt Van Dyke, who, again, at 6'5", former walk-on, given everything he has and then some, and he's staying in the game because Ward's got 2, Goins got 2. I think Van Dyke's going to need a little time in the hot tub after the game tonight, battling Haas.
What a great lift he's given him, though. I mean, he has come in, again, desperate times, desperate measures, but Van Dyke has started earlier, and again, he's the best jumping athlete on the team, not named Miles Bridges. He's strong, he's tough.
Haas knocked down some free throws, though. Purdue has whittled into this deficit, a 7-0 run, and it's a 1-point game.
Gonna be a little back screen, down screen, bad pass.
Tom Izzo doing more and more pacing here. He just wants to get to the locker room.
You know what that means, Dan? That means you're uncomfortable with your team. Like, coaches, Tom Izzo gets up and he does it, you know, all that normally. But all the hands being on the court, you could tell he's really uncomfortable. It's like he's trying to get through this game. That's normally how Tom is. But all the on the court and the hands up and all, that's not who he is. And it's just a lack of comfort.
And again, using a lineup he probably never envisioned using for the last 4 or 5 minutes of the half because of the foul trouble. Haas back in as Purdue goes back on offense. High-low between the bigs, and not much you can do to defend that.
You know what happened? Haas stepped in early. He didn't wait until Swanigan get the ball. If you're a post guy out there, step in early, and then knowing that the play is going to be the play, then they can get the ball to you inside the lane.
On occasion, he has, Haas, that is, some remarkably efficient games against Illinois recently. 24 points in 22 minutes. Shot clock at 4. Winston. Ellis gets it off in time, but doesn't draw iron, and it's Purdue ball. And they could hold for the final shot of the first half. They just took their first lead moments ago on the basket by Haas. They're on a 9-0 run right now.
You know, there's really a lot of guys want to call timeout in this sense. There's really no reason for Purdue to call timeout. You know what you're going to do, and you really don't want Michigan State to be able to set up something. You know you're going high-low with Swanigan feeding it down to Haas.
Matt Painter just switched Haas and Swanigan, one of them on the opposite sides of the court. Shot clock turned off. Haas inside, fouled hard by Van Dyke, and Haas headed back to the free throw line.
Now that was pretty nice. They were bringing Swanigan up, which cleared out the backside, and instead of going high-low, they just simply went straight into the block.
And back to the free throw line for Haas, where he is 4 for 4 tonight, 71% on the season.
Committed to Wake Forest. Realized that it wasn't going to be academically what he wanted. He wanted to be an engineer, so he opened it back up. And Purdue, who had recruited him, got back in the fray, and now he's a really good player for the Boilermakers.
First miss at the line tonight by the Boilermakers. Time for Michigan State. Bridges. Yes! Coast to coast, the freshman to end the half. And they'll go to the locker room tied at 39.
Hey, remember first shot Bridges took? He settled for a 3. Tom Izzo yelled at him. Bridges didn't sulk. Guess what? He listened to the Hall of Famer. Last shot of the half, he gets a deuce.
And the Hall of Famers with Molly.
Thanks, Dan. Coach, Purdue went on a run at the end of the half. What changed?
Well, they went on a run because we had Nick and Miles on the bench because we had some foul trouble, and we had, MVD did a good job, but it's 6'5" walk-on against a mammoth guy, and we didn't do it very good, and called a lot of fouls, and they made a lot of free throws.
You just exchanged words with the referee. What did you say?
I thought he travels a lot, the big guy. I thought he travels a lot. I just thought I'd help him out.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Because that's what coaches like to do. They like to help officials out. 20 minutes of great entertainment tonight, 20 more to come. We'll send you to Carl Ravitch and the guys after this timeout. To Super Tuesday, presented by CenturyLink. What a fun first 20 minutes here at Michigan State. The Spartans and the Boilermakers all tied up at 39 in a very significant Big Ten conference game. Hi again, everybody. Dan Shulman and Dan Dockich. A lot to like about that first half.
Well, I really like the two players. Swanigan, who came in, it was a story to start with, had committed to Michigan State, now playing at Purdue. He had 10, but Miles Bridges, the freshman who has been hurt but playing better of late, was fantastic, Dan, in the first half. He had the bucket to tie. He had 17 in the first half. No free throws for Michigan State. No offensive rebounds.
Amazing stuff in 20 minutes of basketball. Molly McGrath had a chance to talk with Matt Painter. Molly, what did he say?
Yeah, that's right. Well, as Dan mentioned, he's not happy with the way that they're defending Miles Bridges so far. He said he got too many good open looks, so that was his message to his bigs. But he was really happy with the run at the end of the half. He said they did a good job getting the ball inside. They made simple plays and didn't force it, but they need to lock it down on Miles Bridges in the second half, Dan.
All right, Molly, thank you. 17 for Bridges. Some foul trouble for Michigan State, a real factor at the end of the half. Both teams shot the ball extremely well, especially the Spartans.
Yeah, Sparty was fantastic. I mean, they came right out. I think Aaron Harris hit the first one, but Sparty didn't slow down. And for Purdue, look, foul trouble for Michigan State. They're going inside. And you know what was impressive about Purdue was they never deviated from that in the last 5-6 minutes, or actually 3 minutes, Dan. When they were down, they made their comeback by being a little more patient and waiting it out and getting it inside.
If you said to Tom Izzo, Nick Ward's only going to play 6 minutes, you're not going to get an offensive rebound, and you're not going to shoot a single free throw in the first half, he would take a tie. But Purdue ended the first half on a 10-2 run, so some mixed emotions, no doubt, for Tom Izzo heading into the locker room. Carson Edwards misses the three, and down with the rebound, Bridges.
I believe the team that does not fall in love with the jump shot is going to win this game. I just think that there's no way Michigan State's going to shoot 7 for 12 this half, so they got to get something else. Transition, throwing it inside, and same with Purdue. They can't rely on a Carson Edwards three very often this half.
Harris looking inside for Ward. Ward doesn't get the ball. Now Nair. Shot clock at 5. Somebody's got to create. Harris for 3. Got it. Took 29 and a half seconds, but they got a good look, and Harris knocks it down.
Yeah, Purdue played great defense, but you make one mistake in this league. They missed a switch, and Harris got his feet set and drilled it.
Swanigan, he'll try to answer, and will as he knocks down another three.
Dan, you know why? They put him at the top of the key like you drew, and they made him a screener that time. He set an up screen, then he set another screen. Nick Ward helped, freed Swanigan. Doesn't need much time.
And we're tied at 42 early in the second half. Harris, Mathias stays with him. Much improved defender, Dakota Mathias.
Much improved player, just a confident kid as he's grown up in the Purdue program.
Nairn on the drive and fouled on the floor.
Set a screen, get a shot. Give up the ball, here comes a screen. Man helps, step back, knock it in, and that's a big difference for Biggie Swanigan. He is not afraid to screen. He understands now that helping others helps himself. And that's huge.
Talked about his background. If we go back a little bit further, you can read about it on ESPN.com today. Myron Metcalf with a terrific article. 360 pounds as an 8th grader before he got serious, started working out, changed his diet drastically, lost over 100 pounds. His mom raised 6 kids. They moved all over the place, spent some time in Indiana, then out to Utah. And Swanigan talks about this openly, spent some time in homeless shelters, his mom doing everything that she could to care for him. And now he has turned himself into one of the great players in college basketball, part of the Wendy's Wooden Watch, one of only 3 players going back 20 years, averaging 20, 18, 12, and 2. And the other 2 names, Tim Duncan and Blake Griffin. That's pretty good company.
Yeah, not bad.
But give a lot of credit to Swanigan, who came from extraordinarily difficult circumstances and has turned himself into a phenomenal player and a very good student in his sophomore year at Purdue.
Give a lot of credit to Roosevelt Barnes, a former Purdue player who adopted Swanigan and taught him about diet, taught him about conditioning, and gave him a stable home. And there's been a lot of criticism of Roosevelt Barnes. Well, let me tell you, you do for anybody, much less a basketball player, what he did at age 13 for Swanigan. I don't know how you can criticize that.
And Roosevelt Barnes himself, a great player back in the day at Purdue.
Yeah, he played basketball and football. Actually, he was a basketball player out of Fort Wayne. He ended up playing football for the Detroit Lions and had a pretty good career. And then he became an agent with the late Eugene Parker. And you know what he did? He did a great thing for Swanigan, and good for Swanigan for listening.
Ward over Swanigan to tie the game.
Yeah, that's a good matchup. That's a really good matchup because right now Swanigan is playing post defense like you play in high school, not the foul.
Ward's the guy who's got to be careful. He's got 2. By the way, P.J. Thompson's gone to the bench with 3. Spike Albrecht back in. Purdue turns it over. Nairn. Bridges! Timeout, Purdue. The house is alive, Dan Dockich.
Oh, man. Hey, Spike Albrecht got back. Spike Albrecht was a fly on an elephant's backside right here. Look, Spike's there, but he just got out of the way. I tell you what, hey, there's transition defense, and then there's nothing you can do. Eight for 10, 3 for 4, 5 rebounds with 19 points. Not bad for a freshman playing in a monster game. First shot of the game, he missed. Tom Izzo got all over Miles Bridges. Guess what, kids? He didn't sulk. What'd he do? He listened. He got himself inside. And by getting himself inside, he also got himself outside. He has been fantastic in this game. Miles Bridges and the defensive end as well. I think he's been terrific there as well.
How about Tum Nairn, who made the pass on that alley-oop? He's played 14 minutes, has not even attempted a shot, not a real threat to score, but he's got 5 assists.
Yeah, he's been a real factor, and I think his defense has been pretty good, too. He's harassed the ball handler, whether it's Edwards now or Spike Albrecht or now Mathias. He's guarded 3 people in his possession.
Michigan State, 15 assists on 19 made buckets. Purdue, 14 on 15. Both teams really sharing the basketball. Swanigan follows his miss and puts it home.
Man, is the staff going crazy. Mike Garland at the end of the bench just jumped up because Swanigan knew he missed it, ran after it. Ward, 44, was going down the court. He's going to come out, Ward.
Swanigan averages over 18 and 12. He's already at 15 and 7 tonight. Ward working hard, but Swanigan comes up with a loose ball. Carson Edwards behind a screen from Swanigan. Baseline drive, nicely done.
Hey, and smart by Carson Edwards. Remember first play of the second half, Carson Edwards took an ill-advised three. He learned, he went to the rim, nobody there to stop him.
We mentioned Purdue's 10-0 when he's in double figures. He's in double figures tonight. See if the stat holds true. Ward double team and is fouled. We got a timeout on the floor going up and down, back and forth here at the Breslin Center. Just going to be an outstanding basketball game.
Yeah, it is. And you get the opportunity to call it. It'll be crazy. You know, you got to give John Calipari credit. He'll play anyone. I mean, he doesn't care. He'll just go play. Remember, did you do the game a few years ago when Kansas got beat by like 40
yes,
in the Champions
that was
Classic?
In the Champions, yep.
A couple of those guys are still back, right?
Yep.
Mason played in that one, a couple other guys.
Yeah, they played last year at Lawrence. They'll play this year in Lexington. Bridges having a big night. Knocks down another one.
Inexcusable, though, Dan. You got to know the game. You got to know, if you're Edwards, to close on his right hand, because I'm telling you, the star of this game is Miles Bridges.
Michigan State is 9 out of 15 on three-pointers. Swanigan now defended by Goins. Ward did not come back on the floor after that last whistle. On the bench for a breather. Edwards partially blocked by Bridges. Saved by McQuaid into the hands of Nairn. Harris.
That would have brought the house down.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Carson Edwards. Vince Edwards there to put it home.
Well, the thing you notice, as Goins has a bloody nose here at half court, I thought he got hit on the previous play as they came down right there.
Ooh, got hit by his own teammate. You thought he got hit before?
That was the previous play. Then they came down. He played with it. He kind of sucked it up and played, and then after the last bucket, they recognized that he was bleeding.
So Goins out. That brings Ward back in for Michigan State.
They need to get him back. I thought he was great defensively on Swanigan that last possession. It would not be bad for Tom Izzo to think about in this game, playing both Goins and Ward together. Something they don't like to do because of foul trouble. But Goins was nice defensively.
Molly, what do you got?
Well, Dan, you guys mentioned how Ward had a tough couple minutes. He wasn't back on the floor after the timeout. Well, assistant coach Dane Fife said, well, that was a bad 2 minutes for Nick Ward. Tom Izzo was really frustrated with him and his defense on Caleb Swanigan. He was upset about that rebound that he had and the putback. So he told him, you lost focus. You made a mistake on one end. It carried over to the other. You can't let that happen. So they're frustrated with Nick Ward. This is a chance maybe for him to redeem himself.
All right, Molly, thank you. I think the referees went to the monitor to see if there was anything untoward on the play involving Goins, but they found out quickly it was his own teammate that elbowed him in the nose.
And you know what I liked about it? They did it real quick.
Yeah.
Now they've got to wipe up, some blood in different spots, but they just did it quick. They went there, knew there was nothing. Let's go.
Again, Michigan State, they need a big win. They've got some decent wins this year, but they need a big win. They're trying to extend a streak of 19 consecutive trips to the NCAA tournament. And when you look at the Big Ten, it's crowded in the middle, as it always seems to be. And a lot of people, a lot of schools vying for NCAA tournament spots. Look at Northwestern right now making a case. They're 5-2 in league play.
I thought Northwestern, I don't know if you watched the game against Ohio State, but they had a chance to go away, and Northwestern was able to hang on. I do think this is the year Northwestern gets into the dance. I do. I think they're good enough. I was talking to Chris Holtman, the coach at Butler, and he said of all the teams they played this year, and they played Arizona, they played Utah, they played Villanova, they played a bunch. He said the hardest team to prepare for defensively, meaning their offense, was Northwestern and Chris Collins.
Northwestern had not won in Columbus since 1977. They'll have a chance to to pick up some quality wins down the stretch. And one of your themes coming into this one was this is an opportunity for Michigan State to get a really important W.
And they only have 3 more against top 20 teams, top 25 teams.
Ellis, nice tap out to McQuaid. Knew exactly what he was doing, knew exactly where he was going with that. First offensive rebound of the game for the Spartans. How about
Shocking.
that? Nearly 6 minutes into the second half. Nairn going all the way around, out to Bridges, forced this one up.
What a great block out by Matthias. That was a force. He had 9 seconds, Dan. He could have driven the basketball, found the next. I think it's a good move by Tom Izzo getting Nairn out of there because Nairn sticks him a little bit offensively. They can help off.
Haas out to Matthias, who buries the 3.
Not even recruited. Played for a little AAU team, Northwest Ohio. We coached against him. He's a year behind the group I coach, and all he could do was make shots and be smart. And you've seen now, as he's gotten older, he is a tremendous Big Ten player.
47% from beyond the arc as a freshman, had mononucleosis, had vertigo, had surgery after his freshman season to relieve pressure in his sinus cavities, and a couple of years later he's turned into a heck of a Big Ten player. Alvin Ellis, get it out of here. Bridges is fouled and will head to the free throw line.
Izzo's going nuts with Ward, and I don't blame him. Alvin Ellis, this is the right pass, but Alvin Ellis just got his head under the rim. Look at this. He goes straight up and swats it.
Well, there's a whole lot of competing going on both sides tonight, isn't there?
The reason Izzo was nuts with Nick Ward is because Purdue's done a really smart thing. They have double-teamed Nick Ward on the block, and as Molly just said, it wasn't his best 2 minutes, so they took him out. Well, Matthias just went and doubled up again and took it out of his hands.
Michigan State's first free throw attempt of the entire night makes it a 3-point game. Boy, we got some crazy numbers in this game.
All right, Dan, now you put Winston in because they're doubling. So you surround Nick Ward with McQuaid, who should be a shooter, Winston, who is a shooter/penetrator, no blockout.
And Ward headed to the free throw line. Matt Painter can't even look, can't even bear to look.
Yeah, everybody makes a big deal about Tom Izzo practices blocking out on free throws. Matt Painter does as well. And that's what makes you crazy.
Got an NBA doubleheader coming your way tomorrow night as the Warriors head to the Hive to take on Kemba Walker and the Hornets in the late game. The Lakers into Portland. They'll battle that dynamic duo of Lillard and McCollum in the backcourt for the Blazers. Coverage tips at 7 with the NBA countdown charged by Mountain Dew.
Did you see on the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's 81, the Lakers got beat by more than they'd ever got beaten in their life?
Got beat by 49, I think it was, by Dallas. Ward working hard here on defense. Tipped the pass out of bounds.
Hey, when you go from your stars being Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Paul Gasol to Nick Young and D'Angelo Russell, that's going to happen to you. Wilt Chamberlain.
2-point lead Purdue in a very spirited affair tonight here in East Lansing. Haas over Bridges.
Bridges, this is going to sound really weird, Dan, but Bridges got out-quicked by Haas. Bridges was coiled to try to block that. He knew Haas was going, but Haas just turned to his left shoulder and got it up so quick, Bridges couldn't get there.
And a foul away from the ball going against Michigan State. That is Ward, and that is his 3rd. And that's going to send him back to the bench. Goins has gotten cleaned up after the bloody nose, and he's back in for the Spartans.
This isn't bad, though. Ward's having a tough game. Bill Belichick always says, you coach this game. You don't worry about last game. All right, so in this game, Goins has done the best job, I think, against Haas. And it's not a bad matchup on the perimeter with Miles Bridges taking on Swanigan. So this is not bad. Ward's not playing well, so get him out and let's get it figured out.
Goins is giving up 8 inches and 60 pounds in the matchup against Haas. Swanigan fumbles the pass, gets it back. Thompson probing. Got his man in the air and draws the foul on Ellis.
He's so smart. His dad was smart, played at Ball State. His younger brother, Isaiah Thompson, smart, plays at Zionsville High School. This kid, P.J. Thompson, really well coached in high school. He just knows how to play, man. He gets under people. He knows who he is, doesn't do things that he isn't capable of doing. Drew a foul.
Second in the country in assist-to-turnover ratio. In the country, behind only Monte Morris of Iowa State.
I'm telling you, Dan, he is one of those guys, again, that Purdue always made their bones with. Under-recruited. You know, maybe Ball State, maybe the MAC. Purdue took him, and now, as you said, you know, he's up there with the greats in college basketball doing things a point guard should do.
Swanigan with the offensive rebound off the missed free throw. Haas and Goins pushed him a fair bit off the block. Nice look. Thompson, corner three.
Man, oh man. How good was that by Haas? Because they decided Michigan State to double. I thought Goins had done a pretty good job, as you said, getting Haas out of the lane. They came to double. Haas just threw over it. No problem.
Winston. Jumper not there for Goins. And Purdue now 8 points up. Michigan State hasn't made a bucket in 3.5 minutes.
Interesting. This is what good coaches do. Goins missed that jump shot. You know what Izzo did? He's screaming at Nick Ward. Why? Because he's telling him, you're not playing well enough, so I got to play a walk-on that has some heart. He and Izzo and Ward are going back and forth tough on each other.
Scoop by Thompson. No. Look at Haas. But then he gets called for the foul, dipping the shoulder into Matt McQuaid. Timeout on the floor. 10:58 to go. 8-point game. Boilermakers.
We're having some fun, Dan.
Wow. 82-31. Man, oh man. Look at the night for Donovan Mitchell. And pretty good night here for Caleb Swanigan. Another double-double, Dan. His 17th in 21 games.
Man, oh man, get on the Express because this is just automatic. Give Purdue credit. They know what they have, and they feed him. And give Swanigan credit. Top of the key is his shot, and he doesn't deviate from it, and he's been out hustling Michigan State. He and Haas have been a terrific duo in this game. Michigan State's going to have to figure out something to keep the ball out of Swanigan and Haas's hands.
He may not get to 2020, but he's got 4 of those games this year. The rest of the country, Division I in its entirety, have 7. There have been 11 in the country this year, and he's got 4 of them.
You know, best thing ever happened to him was? Best thing ever happened to him was the NBA telling him you're not good enough.
Yep.
And you need to work on X, Y, and Z, and he's gone to work on it.
Yeah. Whoa! You know what? You know what they're going to tell Miles Bridges at the end of the year? You're good enough.
Yeah. Here's a contract.
Yeah. Man, you can't teach that. That's a season high for the freshman, 25 points.
Don't be surprised if he doesn't end up with 35 because he's the guy going right now and the only guy going for Michigan State.
Haas and Goins called for the foul.
Hey, you might want to put a body on this guy. What do you think, Dan? He could have dunked that with his forehead.
Yep.
Oh.
I tell you, we've had some years where there have been great crops of freshmen.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's been a better year than this year.
You know what's been great? And Miles Bridges doesn't fall in this category, but these freshmen have made their team so much better, and they're fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like, you know, passing has become cool. Kamar Baldwin at Butler has been unbelievable, along with Lonzo Ball, along with TJ Leaf, along with De'Aaron Fox,
Yeah.
Malik Monk.
Josh Jackson at Kansas.
Hey, not bad.
We'll see him in the Sonic Blockbuster against
Hey, this
Kentucky
guy.
Saturday. Man, oh man. And Bridges comes up with the ball. He's working it at both ends.
Yes, he is.
All the way. Got it. I just want to make sure you're having fun tonight.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, Michigan State, we worry about them being a tournament team. He plays like that, Bridges. They're a tournament team, and they can beat anybody. It's a big, big deal for Michigan State.
Swanigan asking for it. Bridges guarding him. Got him in the air and draws the foul.
Hey, Bridges was tired after the coast-to-coast, after the dunk, and kind of gave up on the post, and Swanigan just abused him.
Yeah, Bridges is winded right now. Got his hands on his knees. Always a surefire sign on the lane when you see a guy bend down and tug at the shorts a little bit. You can't blame him. He's putting in a good night's work.
And you know what you tell him? Seriously. You say, look, we're taking tomorrow off. You have nothing to do. You go to class, take a nap. I don't care. But we need you for 9:13. Then take a nap.
Yep. Kind of play the game mentally, I would imagine, in 4-minute increments right now, TV timeouts and so forth. But and now the assignments just changed. With Haas going out, you got to believe Goins will be on Swanigan. Bridges will switch on to Vince Edwards. Different kind of matchup.
No question about it, but they'll still go to Swanigan.
Yeah.
Goins has done a really good job, I think, Dan. You're not going to see anything in the book. He's got some fouls, but he has battled. He's made it tough.
Bridges and an offensive foul. Goins just picked up his 4th foul on an illegal screen.
All right, now you got to see what Nick Ward can do. Nick Ward played bad, taken out. Played bad, taken out. Izzo all over him. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can't move. You can't keep your arms up. You have to keep your hands down.
So Ward back in. Edwards using a sizable screen from Swanigan. Can't take advantage. Swanigan isolated on Bridges. Help from Ellis. Turnaround jumper, got it. How good is that?
Hey, how about a little Nowitzki right there, right? Man, he got everybody out of the way. They were going to try to double team off Carson Edwards. Swanigan moved Edwards out of the way, which took the defense with him. Wow.
And it's back to an 8-point lead for Purdue. Ward, tough catch and finish.
I love Cassius Winston in this game. I do. I think offensively he finds people. That was a terrific catch, as you said, but a better pass. Cassius Winston put it right where it needed to be.
Again, the one-on-one matchup. Swanigan just too strong.
Hey, how's that not a foul? I mean, he wrapped up Swanigan. Swanigan played through the 270-pound Ward.
Winston can't finish, but there's a foul.
Put 10 more minutes on. Let's go 17:50. This is too much fun.
We got a timeout. They came with things they knew they were supposed to chant at Swanigan because he committed to Michigan State and then changed his mind and went to Purdue. Right now they'd love to have him wearing the green and white.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. Your link to what's next.
To a game, you have certain expectations. The hype is big. You hope it lives up to it. Swanigan, Bridges, it's living up to it tonight.
Oh, Dan, from the get-go. I mean, from the get-go, these two teams have been going up and down. They have showcased their stars. And Miles Bridges, you got to give him a ton of credit, man. He has gone mano a mano with Swanigan and has done great.
Swanigan 21-11. Bridges has a season high with 27 points. Largest lead of the game has been 8 on either side, and it's an 8-point lead right now for Purdue. 7:50 to go. What does Michigan State have to do better than they've done to get closer in this game?
I think Nick Ward getting the ball in the post. He's going to draw a double team. Purdue has been very smart. Okay, fine. You want a double team? He's got to play out of it, and then you've got to have a guy like Harris or Ellis knock in the shot. But the double team has really affected Michigan State. They have gotten nothing, and I mean nothing, out of the inside of Nick Ward, who has been terrific at not only scoring, but drawing fouls. He's got to play out of it much better.
Purdue's out rebounding Michigan State. Purdue's a better rebounding team this year. Tom Izzo always has great rebounding teams, but again, this is a small bunch. The injuries. Purdue's turned 10 offensive rebounds into 12 points. Both teams shoot great from 3. Purdue 9 for 18, Michigan State 9 for 19.
I'll say one other thing. On the defensive end, I would double Swanigan. I would take Carson Edwards' man, and I would double. And I'd make Carson Edwards either have to make threes or have to drive it into big people.
Let's go to Molly.
Dan, also, as Dan said, defensively, Michigan State wants to pressure Purdue's 2 post feeders. He said Matthias and Klein, they make that extra dribble. They don't want them to be able to pass it. As far as their offense goes, it all goes through Miles Bridges.
All right, Molly, thank you. The Izzone trying to give the Spartans some help. Ball's loose on the deck. It stays with Purdue. Did Ward touch it on the way out?
I thought that was Ward. Gene Steratore has the coolest walk in college basketball, so we won't.
He does.
We won't dispute him.
NFL referee, Big Ten official. Pretty good gig.
Yeah, he's a Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
Good call.
Swanigan called for the foul.
Good call, and this is not on Swanigan. This is on the ball handler. The ball handler didn't wait. Now they saw that elbow go, but Swanigan was not allowed to get set by his ball handler, P.J. Thompson.
Second on Swanigan. 6-point lead, Purdue. Ward deep position. Swanigan reaches around, tips it away. Ward doing a good job trying to push Swanigan further off the lane, which is no easy task.
No.
Edwards to the bucket. And we're going against Purdue again. This time it's Vince Edwards.
It's almost like referees say, all right, you two big guys, Swanigan and Ward, we're going to let you knock the living heck out of each other. The rest of you, we're going to call it if you push, do whatever inside. This is a big time in this game, Dan. You get the feeling that Michigan State has ratcheted up their physical play and certainly their aggressiveness defensively.
I think the conversation here is, was that a common foul or an offensive foul? I may be wrong, but will this foul send Michigan State to the line? We'll try to get your word of what the official review is, as the two of the officials have gone to the monitor.
That's what I'm talking about. You've got to make Carson Edwards make plays. Well, it was a loose ball foul.
Yeah, so that's a common foul.
Yeah.
There should be 1-1, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And the officials sorted out quickly. If that's what they were looking at, that's what they determined, and it looks like there will be free throws coming.
What a big possession. You're driving down the lane with a kid who is in double figures already, and you miss. Next thing you know, you're down on the other end, giving up two.
So Bridges, who's having a heck of a night, 27 points, 62% free throw shooter. This is 1-1. Michigan State is a team, as you well know, at the beginning of the year, dismal at the free throw line. They're starting to get better bit by bit. It's a very, as we've mentioned, a very different kind of a Michigan State team, as Bridges makes both of them. They can't just go to the glass and bludgeon you that way. They got to run. They got to make free throws. Right now, they got to play some D. Edwards the drive, and a foul on Bridges. Neither he nor his coach pleased at all.
Haven't heard much out of Vince Edwards tonight. Haven't heard anything really out of him. One bucket. Let's see. Going to the rim. There's a little body there. I got to tell you, Dan.
That's pretty good defense.
That's a play on.
Yeah,
That's as good a defense as you can do.
Yeah. Number 3 on Bridges.
Yeah, I really believe for Michigan State to win this game, they can't foul. I think it feels like, anyway, that they have a handle right now on Purdue's offense. You can get hot defensively, and I think Michigan State feels really good about where they're at defensively. So you can't foul and bail them out.
Purdue's also an excellent free throw shooting team. Harris, Matthias got him on the hand, and 2 free throws coming for Aaron Harris. Boy, Harris, a guy, he'll have a 6-point game, then a 22-point game, back and forth, up and down, and just hasn't been consistent this year, but on any given night, a really dangerous guy.
There's no question. He's a kid out of Indianapolis, not really highly recruited, and played on an AAU team with a bunch of really good players. Bob Huggins and his staff saw him, gave him a scholarship, And I think he got tired of Huggins, and I know Huggins got tired of him, so he transferred.
And that snaps a streak of 23 consecutive made free throws for Harris. And a Michigan State foul. Ward thought he poked it away from behind, but he gets called for the foul. Is that number 4? It is number 4 on Nick Ward.
Boy, it looked like he poked it away. It really did. Ward has a great determination against Swanigan. You can see it in his eyes. Look at his eyes. Yeah, he grabbed him. That's a good call.
No sub coming. Ward is going to stay.
Well, there's a lot of guys in suits on Purdue's bench. One of those guys in suits on Purdue's bench better be telling Coach Painter that Ward has 4 fouls if he is on the court next time Purdue comes down defensively, or there's going to be one less guy in a suit for Purdue.
Made them both.
I think it's a little bit the same thing with Purdue. You can't foul. You just can't bail anybody out. Points have been a little bit tough because both teams have settled in defensively.
Tom Izzo wants a timeout. Dan Dockich, Molly McGrath. I'm Dan Schulman here in East Lansing. Nick Ward, maybe the most important guy in the game right now.
There's no question, and this has really hurt him. The double team, the crowds have made Nick Ward take a bad shot or get it turned over. You see right here, they're just going to take the ball out of his hands. Great adjustment by Matt Painter, and Tom Izzo has gone after Ward. And now, with 6 minutes to go, you know what? He's going to let him sink or swim, and he's the most important guy on the court right now.
He's got 4 fouls, just picked up his 4th, less than a minute ago down at the other end of the court.
That was as unorganized as you're ever going to see Michigan State out of a timeout. Ward looked like he had no idea what had been said in the huddle.
And they're still trying to figure it out. Winston puts the brakes on, but he needs some help. Going to try to do it himself, but he gets called for an offensive foul, hooking his way around the defender.
Look at Izzo. Exactly what we said. Ward had no idea. That tells you he was not paying attention into the huddle. And in any sport, one guy can screw the entire thing up.
But we just saw something you don't see very often. It's not that a coach came out on the floor and yelled at a player a little bit. It's that he came out with the whiteboard during just a
you
whistle.
See the whiteboard, he's still got the play on it. Look at him. He still has the play on the whiteboard. You can see the green marker. Still, he was going to get him out anyway because they're going offense, defense. Goins in now.
Well, the freshman's really good, and he's had a really good year, but he's getting some lessons and lectures tonight from his Hall of Fame coach. So Goins back in for him.
And you know what? He doesn't seem to be the worse for wear. He's surviving it, all you youngsters out there. If you get yelled at, it's not the end of the world.
Harris into Goins.
That's what you can't do. You have Goins under the basket. Edwards is there. Haas is there. That's what I'm talking about, Dan. You just don't reach in. You make a guy make a shot that he really can't make.
So here's Kenny Goins, former walk-on, giving up a ton of size in the matchup, got a knee brace on, got a bloody nose, and just giving everything he has in the minutes he's in there.
Our crack producer, Bart Fox, says he's got a little Will Smith look to him from the movie Ali. So if you got to look like someone, I'll take looking like Will Smith as opposed to
you or me?
As opposed to me. I was going to say you and me. Don't be surprised if you don't see one of these two guys freed up for a 3 with the help in the post coming.
Ten to shoot. Haas. And he turned it over on a travel. Meanwhile, the board has been broken apparently. Tom Izzo has had enough, and he's going to take it out on the board.
The board should have been broke. I'm just glad nobody's head got broken over by Izzo. But the breaking a board is so overrated by people. Boards are easy.
Wow. What kind of a night is this kid having? 32. guarding Swanigan at this end of the floor. Matthias can really shoot it. A little bit strong. Offensive rebound, Swanigan. Matthias will get another chance and bury it.
What a great play by P.J. Thompson and Swanigan. Swanigan hustled the rebound, didn't force it against Aaron Harris. Next thing you know, Thompson found the most open guy, the best shooter in the building, Matthias.
Winston nowhere to go. The game clock has stopped. They're going to play on to the next whistle, but the game clock is frozen right now.
They don't know it.
No.
I don't think the refs know it.
Well, at the next whistle, they'll go to the under 4, and then they'll have, now the clock has started. They'll have to figure out how much time should have come off the clock, but didn't. Thompson from the corner, a big one for Purdue.
I told you, Dan, you could just tell the way Michigan State was playing. Their help from the perimeter guys were going to have a chance to shoot threes.
And a timeout on the floor. I think Tom Izzo called a timeout. They're down by 10 right now, largest deficit of the night, and we're under 4 to play. Time should come off the clock. The clock froze during Michigan State's last possession, and it wasn't just a couple of seconds. It's taken a long time for them to figure this out, but a fairly significant amount of time is going to come off the clock. It'll freeze at 4:11. That's frozen for a long time, my friend.
That was amazing. Nobody in the building noticed it.
Yeah.
No coach.
Pat Driscoll over to speak with Mr. Dockage. What's the word?
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
3:20, yeah.
Tom Izzo maybe still talking about fouls or non-fouls. It's been a physical game, as you knew it was going to be between these two teams. So they take 30 seconds off the clock, down to 3:20. I think that felt like a lot.
I thought.
Yeah.
I thought it was like 20 seconds.
And the clock, of course, is Purdue's ally right now. Bridges, and he is fouled. Swanigan will pick up his third. And Swanigan holding his finger or his thumb. That might have gotten jammed a little bit on the contact.
At the line for Michigan State, 22, Bridges shooting 2.
Reached in there with the left hand.
A lot of people felt like Swanigan was going to be an injured player because of his body type. But I tell you what, his conditioning, the training staff, Chad Young, the weight coaches have done a great job, and nobody works harder than Swanigan.
Kenny Goins just picked up his 5th. So he is done, and Ward, who's got 4, comes back into the game. And Goins trying to fire up his teammates and some of the Izzone down there. As you said, not a lot of what he did, not everything that he did will show up in the box score, but when he was in there, he played his tail off.
Yeah, he's got a bad left leg, wears a pretty big brace on it, and he went toe-to-toe, didn't give an inch, just not quite big enough. Now you've got Ward out there, you see the brace, thing in his nose. Now you've got Ward. Ward's going to have to play very smart here. He's going to have to be an offensive player, but where defensively he's going to have to show his hands and play with his lower body.
And Purdue keeps stretching out this lead. A very close game for most of the night, but this is now the largest lead of the game for either team. Winston to the bucket.
You got to play without fouling here. If you're not going to foul initially or do anything like that, you can trap, but you got to show your hands. Don't put Purdue at the foul line.
Two-man game, and the lay-in for Edwards on the feed from Swanigan.
Well, that's an older guy taking advantage of Bridges because that's just a little curl off of the ball. Bridges turned his head. Swanigan recognized it, threw it right over his shoulder. That's what we're talking about. Dan, good players play in the middle of the floor really well, and Swanigan is tremendous in the middle of the floor, passing, shooting, driving.
Ellis rattles home a much-needed three, and Tom Izzo will use another timeout. That's his last one. 2:13 to go. We'll keep it right here. The Spartans back within 8.
Well, you've got to make sure, if you're Purdue, that you pressure the perimeter. Look, if Ward's going to beat you inside, there you go. Good. God bless you. He struggled all night long. But you cannot get soft to where you're not helping inside, Dan, but you're also not taking away the three. That's what just happened with Ellis. His man wasn't really helping on the post, but he wasn't out here guarding real strong. So you've got to make a decision. I think you've got to guard the perimeter if you're Purdue these last 2 minutes.
Talk about this Purdue team a little bit. Sometimes maybe don't get the attention that they should. There are so many quality teams in the Big Ten. How good are they, and how do they stand up against the likes of Wisconsin, Maryland, and some of the
Well, I think Wisconsin's the best team in the league, but Purdue beat them pretty handily. I think, we always talk about, maybe there's not a great team. I think Purdue can be a great team. I'm not going to be surprised if Wisconsin doesn't win the league. They've already been at Indiana, Wisconsin. They've already been at Purdue. They've already been at Minnesota. All right? But I'm not going to be surprised at the end of the year if Purdue doesn't make the biggest run. In fact, I think Purdue can be a Final Four team. They play hard. They're connected. They have inside play. They can shoot the living heck out of the basketball. The more I watched getting ready for this game, the more impressed I was. I think it's a potential Elite Eight Final Four team.
Michigan State, meanwhile, looking for a big win, 12-8, not ranked, 4-3 in the league. The leaders right now with the Big Ten, Maryland and Wisconsin, are both 5-1. Maryland home to Rutgers right now. Wisconsin home to Penn State tonight. Northwestern sitting at 5-2, and they're home to Nebraska on Thursday.
I think it was Seth in the studio, Seth Greenberg, talking about, you know what? Maryland's the best team nobody's talking about, and I agree with them. They have 3 freshmen, Herder and Cowan and Jackson, who are just winning guys, Dan. Guys that know how to win.
A slip, and it's turned over to Michigan State. And Edwards just now trying to get back up.
Purdue fans have seen this before. Trouble against the inbound hard press. You see Edwards slipping right there. That's dangerous.
Slipping and then sticking on the way down. That's even more dangerous.
Yeah.
Oof.
Dan, I always felt like Purdue plays too far below the baseline, too far below the free throw line, against pressure. Gets him caught.
Huge possession here for the Spartans. Ellis the drive.
How about that rebound? How about that rebound by Matthias? Just the guy that does everything for Purdue.
Inside 2 minutes. Purdue with the lead and the ball. They can milk the clock a little bit if they want to. Will Swanigan get a touch? Remember, Ward's got 4. Wow, Ward just got the business end of an elbow or a forearm from Swanigan, and it went unnoticed. And Ward sticking with it, playing some defense.
Good for Ward. That was a show of real toughness there.
Winston narrows the gap. And a Michigan State foul. Let's go back and see what was going on between the big guys. Watch the left arm of Swanigan. Tough to see from that angle how much he got him going around. Well, he got him. He got him
hard.
You know, if they look at that, that could be a flagrant one if they look at that.
It could be.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody noticed enough to go to the monitor and see.
Let me ask you a question. I don't want to harp on the officials, but how don't you see that when the 2 biggest, strongest, best players are down there battling?
These are really good officials. A really good crew. This has been a very physical game.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's a break for Purdue.
And an incredibly well officiated game. They've let them go up and down.
Van Dyke will come back into the game for Ward. Sure looks like he got a piece of him.
You know, that angle looks like he threw that elbow intentionally, but Swanigan didn't throw that intentionally. He was stepping around to get position.
Still, the way the game is officiated, had it been noticed, easily could have been a flagrant one. Not a flagrant two, but a flagrant one. Look at this move by Bridges. Can't finish. And Swanigan with yet another rebound, but he stepped out of bounds. Momentum carried him out of bounds. That's the 7th turnover he's committed tonight. That's maybe one of the few things that he doesn't do extremely well. He has been prone to turnovers.
Yeah, he handles it. Swanigan will pass it. 54 assists on the year, but he will turn it over.
Good job by Van Dyke, just creating that situation that Swanigan couldn't extricate himself from. Bridges. In and out, and Swanigan the rebound. And Bridges is running back down on D. Oh, man, I thought that one was going in. And the way he's played tonight, you can't blame him.
His third personal foul.
One more look at this play. Van Dyke out of bounds there with his hand on the ball. So actually, as Swanigan steps out of bounds, and that's a lot to look at for the officials. They got to watch the physical play, feet out of bounds. Thursday night, 8 Eastern on ESPN, ACC action from Chapel Hill. The Tar Heels hosting Virginia Tech, also streaming live on the ESPN app and Watch ESPN. Well, ACC really interesting, of course. North Carolina, tremendous talent. Louisville putting a world of hurt on Pittsburgh tonight. They're up at the top of the league.
I talked to Mark Godfrey today. He said, yeah, we had a great win. Now we're going to go to Louisville.
Hang with them. Aaron Harris around and out. Well, Michigan State shot the three so well for most of the night. But, and you said it earlier in the game, I mean, it was just unrealistic to expect them to keep up the pace. Last two have looked good, but haven't gone down for them.
Dan, we said at the start of the half, whoever does not fall in love with the jump shot, and Purdue did never in this game did they fall in love with the jump shot. It was very consistent what they were going to do, whether it was going to be Swanigan or whether it was going to be Haas or both on the block. Great game plan by Matt Painter. Executed incredibly well. And let's get at the free throw line right here. P.J. Thompson is a big part of that, Dan. He may not be the best point guard in the league. There's a lot of good ones. But this kid right here directs, organizes, and leads his team as well as anybody.
It's a big road win for Purdue that will get them to 6-2 in league play. They've shot their free throws great tonight. And Caleb Swanigan coming back to Michigan State, the school he originally committed to before changing his mind and winding up at Purdue. What's he done tonight? 25 points and 17 rebounds.
What he's done is shut everybody in the building up and make them leave with a minute to go is what he's done.
And he might dribble out the clock, and how satisfying is that for him? What a night. You want to talk about a guy working hard. Caleb Swanigan working hard tonight. Miles Bridges sensational for Michigan State. Purdue with a big road win to go to 6-2 in the league. Michigan State with the defeat. They drop to 4-4. Huge night for Swanigan, huge night for Bridges, and a very satisfying win, no doubt, for Matt Painter and the Boilermakers here in East Breslin. Again, the final score, Purdue 84, Michigan State 73. For Dan Dockage, Molly McGrath, and our crew, I'm Dan Schulman, saying thanks for watching, and so long from the Breslin Center. We now send you down under the Australian Open.